I promise you it's not as complicated as it seems. So in this video, I'm going to try to explain as simply as possible how to do a cardioid subwoofer setup so that the stage is very quiet and all the bass is in the audience. And if you do this, your musicians on stage will have a much more pleasant experience because they will not be swimming in low frequencies, and everybody else in this venue will have an equal consistent listening experience. So let me show you a real life example from a Christmas gig I did this week. It was 4 days long, and at the end of the video I will do a recap so you can really get a good grasp of the concept. This is the stage. And this is the audience. The audience is looking this way. The musicians are looking that way. People usually put their subwoofers on the left side and right side of the stage. And that's fine sometimes if you're indoors. But I really don't like it because it creates all kinds of problems. So here in the middle, you will have a lot of bass. And here you will have bass. And here you will have bass. But in these areas, you will have no bass. And if you're in a room, you will get reflections and it will fill the spaces. But outdoors, it's really problematic. So what will give us the most even coverage is just one subwoofer in the middle. Because bass is omnidirectional, it will send sound all the way around in a circle. Now, one subwoofer may not be enough, so you might want to use two. And in that case, we would put both of them in the middle next to each other. And that's great. We still have a circular response and even more bass. But the problem is the stage is swimming with low end. If you're standing on stage, it's literally shaking. It's so uncomfortable for the musician. So how can we fix that? We will spread the subwoofers apart a little bit, and both of these are pointing that way. We will put a third one in the middle between them, but pointing the other way. And that is called an inverted gradient subarray. Now there's also limitations. How far can you spread apart these outer subs? Because remember, if you push them too far apart, like left and right of the stage, you'll start having these lines of bass, no bass, bass, no bass, this whole mess. The maximum distance you want to spread them apart is half wavelength of the crossover frequency. So in my case, I decided to cross over my subs at 90 Hertz. So I put a high pass filter on the mains and a low pass filter on the subs at 90 Hertz. So you can either calculate how long is 90 Hertz and divide it by 2, or you can use the Audio Math Survival spreadsheet from Michael Curtis. It's very useful in the field. I just go to this first box right here. At frequency, I will put 90 Hertz because that's my crossover frequency, and it will give me the half wavelength. This half lambda is the wavelength, 6.28 feet or 1.91 meters, which is 191 centimeters. So I literally grabbed my tape and measured 191 centimeters between the subs, and that's the maximum distance I can pull them apart from each other while keeping a normal coverage without this whole mess. Now, if the drivers of the forward-facing subwoofers are right here, and the driver of the rearward-facing subwoofer is right here, there's some physical distance between this and this. That is the distance. So there's physical delay. The sound from the middle subwoofer arrives to the stage earlier than these. These take more time to arrive to the stage. And the whole idea of this setup is aligning the subs at the stage and then inverting the polarity of one to make a complete cancellation. So I'll put a measurement microphone right here and see how long it takes for the sound from this subwoofer to reach this microphone and for the sound from these outer subs to reach this microphone. And naturally, because this driver is closer, it will arrive first. So I need to delay this so that all of them arrive at the same time to this microphone. And when all of them arrive at the same time, I'm gonna invert the polarity of this middle sub so that it's canceling all the sound that is going to the stage. They are equal level, they are arriving at the same time. If I invert the polarity, I cancel the signal. Now that's the theory. How does it actually apply in real life? I have here two double 18-inch subwoofers and two single 18 subwoofers. It would be more ideal if I had a third double 18 sub, but that's what we have. On all of the subs, I'm keeping the default settings, so gain is at 0 dB and polarity is normal and no presets are selected. The outer subs are daisy chained together and they are being fed one signal, and the inner subs are also daisy chained together and being fed another signal. I placed a measurement mic in the middle of the stage right here. And first I will take a measurement of the outer subs, and then I will take another measurement of the inner subs, and I will add delay to them to make sure they are in phase with the outer ones. And once we have that, I will invert the polarity of the middle subs. And just for the sake of convenience, I plugged the measurement mic directly into the stage box, into the last input, and the reference signal into the mixer. That's output 12. I plugged it directly into input 31, and that will be my reference signal for the measurements. I am generating the pink noise from the mixer at -18, and I'm going through this very quickly because I already made a video about how to use the mixer with the open sound meter. I'll link it up here. You will not be able to hear this through my phone, but if you're actually standing here, there's a huge difference in level in the low frequencies. It's much quieter. First, I took a measurement for the double 18 subs, that is the outer subwoofers, and I didn't do any delay compensation in the software. I captured it as it is, and then I started adding delay from here, and I kept adding delay until my crossover frequency on the phase plot is at 0 degrees. So that turned out to be 6.1 milliseconds, and you can see right here my crossover point is at 90 hertz, and 90 hertz is at 0 degrees. It's on that middle line. Then I took another measurement for the middle subs, and I started adding delay until it matched up at 90 hertz. These are in phase, the lines are on top of each other, and then I split the difference to know how much delay I should actually add to the middle subs. So I would do 8.8 minus 6.1, it's 2.7, and that's how much delay I need to add to the inner subs. And once they are perfectly aligned in the back on stage, I invert the polarity of the middle subs and we have cancellation. And the cool thing is that in front of the subs, it actually sums. So we're getting a little bit more bass in the audience and a lot less bass on stage. I took a measurement in front of the left array and the right array and in the middle, and I averaged those and I did corrective EQ based on the measurement, and it sounded a lot better than not doing an EQ, even though we were outdoors. And then I measured the subs all together and I'm aligning them to the mains in the crossover region. So if you look at 90 hertz in the mains and in the subs, they are right on top of each other. There is 0 degrees difference between them, and even a little bit above and a little bit below, they are still close enough. And in order to get that result, I needed to delay the subs all together by 3.2 milliseconds. So I'll go to my output delays, and whatever delay I have on the middle subs, I will add to it 3.2 milliseconds and also delay the outer subs by 3.2 milliseconds. And it is actually important to align your subs to your mains because everything will sound much tighter. Even if your subs are roughly underneath your mains in the same plane, it's still important to align them. You can hear the difference. If somebody tells you, it doesn't really matter, you can hear it. Because 90 hertz or 100 hertz, that's still bass that is coming from your mains and your subs together. So if it's in time, your entire bass will feel a lot tighter and less loose. And if you're mixing drums, for example, I hear a lot of people saying that it's difficult to get a good sound from live drums. It's really not that difficult. If you tuned your system properly and aligned all the speakers together, it's literally the same as if you were mixing in the studio. The only reason you can't get a good sound is because your speaker system is wonky. So I really encourage you, even if you're not a system engineer, you just mix music, still learn how to tune your system. It will take you much further than trying to EQ the life out of every single channel. Day 2, they threw me on the side of the stage because they put in the middle of the venue that 360 camera thing. But thank goodness I bought a tablet the previous week, otherwise this would have been a disaster. In this clip, I was literally standing on a chair in the middle of the venue just in case one of the musicians on stage needed something from me so I can see them. On the 4th day, there was a choir that didn't even do a sound check. We didn't even know where or how they were gonna stand on stage. So we had to move a lot of things in like 5 minutes. But I was there early anyway, and I thought I would just ring out the choir mics just in case I need to push them very loud. And I indeed had to push them very loud because we are on the main road and I need to overcome the sound of the cars passing by. It was really challenging, but I was able to make it work. Nothing bad happened, but it was just a lot of unnecessary pressure.
The sides on the stage, there's no cancellation, there's a lot of bass. It's just right behind the subs, and the center of the stage is all the cancellation. It's crazy how much quieter it is.
At the end of the fourth day, Sunday night, the gig is over. I'm removing all the monitors from stage, and the other guy that works there is removing his instruments from stage. And then I unplugged the middle subs because there were still music playing for the teens there. I don't know what they were doing. There was loud music playing. When I unplugged the middle subs, I looked at him and was like, "Did you notice?" And he was like, "Yeah, no, that's crazy. The stage was literally shaking." So if you're still not convinced that this is worth the effort, I'm not sure what can convince you, but it's really like magic. The bass is not completely gone. It's still there, but it's very quiet. It's not enough to bother you if you're on stage. And depending how deep you are on the stage, you might not actually hear any of the bass. To recap, instead of putting your subwoofers on the left side and right side of the stage, you put them in the middle, separated by a distance of half wavelength of the crossover frequency, and between them you put a third subwoofer facing backwards towards the stage, and you will delay that subwoofer so that all three of them arrive at the same time on stage. And third step is to flip the polarity of the middle sub, and now you have cancellation on the stage and you have summation in the audience. It's a win-win situation. Everybody is happy. However, if the front of your stage has a hard surface, this will not work because the sound wave has to actually travel back and get canceled at that depth. If you have a hard surface, it will just bounce and this whole thing will be pointless. In my case, the stage was actually empty underneath. It was just a carpet in the front, and bass travels through a carpet. If you don't know how to use Open Sound Meter with the mixer that I showed in this video, you can click on the video on the screen right now to learn how to do that, and I will see you there.